Okay, in this video, we're going to talk about how we can get rigs and animations that we've personally created into Unreal from Maya. Now, this video is not going to go over the basics of rigging, animation, Maya, or Unreal. It assumes that you have a general understanding of these practices, but as most people know, if you're an animator or a rigger and you enjoy doing stuff in Maya, Motion Builder, whatever, you might want to show your stuff in Unreal or get it moving on a character, and you're just not quite sure how to do it. And even when you've attempted, maybe you've run into issues on importing where like your gimbals are off and all sorts of different things because you just don't understand the requirements for real time. That's who this video is for. I encourage you to, if you haven't already, watch the previous video that I have on how to import and export out of Maya into Unreal just generally, because I am using a Maya scene that I have set up for Unreal that I always use. If you don't know how to do that, I encourage you to watch that video. But now let's jump right into it. Now we're going to start from scratch because I think that's the more realistic way if you're going to work on a professional project you're going to run into. You're not necessarily going to be grabbing Mixamo characters and MetaHuman and stuff like that. Those definitely are used, but so much of that stuff is already done for you. It's almost like it's a different pipeline than if you have to do it from scratch, and there's not much good documentation on the scratch method. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to download this Basemesh file from Mateo, and this is on CG Trader. I will have the link in my description. I'm going to go ahead and hit the free download button. Okay, so it was an OBJ file, right, that I've imported into Maya, and I've done nothing else. And you can see the first thing you'll notice is that they're very, very tiny compared to my grid, and that's because this grid is set up for Unreal scale. So one of the first things that you need to make sure you're doing if you're working on characters, getting them rigged, animated, etc., is you realistically really need to set up proper reference and make sure that your objects are scaled correctly. This cube is scaled, it's just a default cube that I scaled 100, 100, 100, and it is now technically 1 meter in Unreal. And if I scale it on the Z to 200, or sorry, on the Y, because Maya uses a different coordinate system, now it's basically 2 meters, which is close to how big their characters usually are. So I would probably scale them to about this size, which is about 26. Looks pretty good. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab this particular character, get the other ones out of there, and then I'm going to go to modify center pivot, center it on his mass, hold on X, and just use the green manipulator to snap him to the center of the grid. So there we go. We now have this character on the center of the grid. This is pretty good. He's about the right scale. What we're going to do is we're going to rename him to SK, let's call him Bob. SK Bob, right? So he's Bob. And now we're going to save our Maya scene because anyone who uses Maya knows that it crashes so much it's disturbing. Test character underscore Bob. And we're good. Maya ASCII save. So we got Bob going. He's good. We're going to go to modify, freeze transformations because we want him zeroed out. We're going to go to edit, delete by type, non-deformer history, just to make sure he's completely clean. And then we're going to save our scene. Now, in the next video, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start rigging him.